Okay, I don't know if they can. They move this over some. I don't know if they can hear us. They should. I don't know why they wouldn't, but we'll we'll see. Um, we'll see. All right. So, what kind of depth, and they can maybe ask you questions as they. You okay? You okay? They ask you questions.
Sure.
All right.
These are new students that don't know anything?
Well, these are people on my YouTube channel. I'm just
Oh, okay.
just giving them an idea that you know we the this is we don't just live in digital world. We actually are flesh and blood.
Yes,
This
they
is
can
stuff
ask.
actually going down. Okay, so a couple of things I want to know. I want to talk about this. Well, let me first ask if they can. Can y'all hear us all right? We need to project what we at the restaurant at the in the back room booth, but we're still here in the restaurant. Trying to see if they can hear us and if how bad the delay is for the comments. I don't know, but well, she said, okay, yeah, okay, all right. She said they can hear us all right, so that's encouraging. All right, so starting off, well, before we get into, is there anything you want to see? You want to introduce yourself?
Well, my name is Justin, and I'm a second-year student with Doktor Khozmiq here at one of the students under House Zion. I'm with House Zion, and so, Doc is my teacher.
Okay. Um, so,
Um,
go ahead.
I guess they should know a little bit more.
All right. What do you want?
I'm a Christian mystic. That's what I call myself.
Okay.
And I've been working in the metaphysical. I don't want to say working, but I've been a part of the metaphysical field for quite some time,
Uh huh.
and it is it's a blessing that I was able to meet up with Doc at Seven Rays, and now I'm here.
Yeah, we met at Seven Rays bookstore, metaphysical book gift at 3701 North Main Street
Uh-huh.
in Columbia, South Carolina. You can't miss it. You really can't. If you're on Main Street, you really can't miss it.
Nope.
So definitely want to give a shout out to them. Um, when I came to Columbia, that was my residency. Was at Seven Rays bookstore with Miss Victoria and Theta Keaton. Those were the proprietors there. So we actually have a website. Y'all check them out and patronize them. Tell them Doc sent you. I can't guarantee you can get a discount, but it's tell them I sent you.
Tell them he sent you anyway.
You're right. But yeah, we were having. That's when I first started having classes.
Yeah.
We had classes there Saturdays, and
I came in and ran my mouth.
right, came in and ran your mouth, and definitely distinguished yourself as someone who was above average and advanced. Okay, compared to the peers in the class, so that definitely put him on the mark and distinguished him. And we did classes there regular. I think for about a year, thereabout, 6 months to a year. We did classes there, and then we started doing. I started hosting the classes, and it kind of grew from there, didn't it?
It did. Then I joined up summer before last.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and it.
All right. We go vegetable plate.
All right. Oh, that does look
Oh
good.
my gosh, it's so good. This is gonna be your lamb burger.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, what's up?
we've been rolling ever since.
So enjoy.
Right. So let's get down to the nitty and the gritty.
That's right.
Now, you have been working with me for a while, and probably have known me the longest of all the other students. Yeah, think about it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. So what have you noticed in your personal practice has changed or adjusted since class?
Definitely working with the Bible.
Uh-huh.
Definitely working with the Bible. A lot more, than I was. That is a major change. I have also, and I mean working with it without saying too much, without giving too much away, working with it in the midst of my work, when I do things, using it as a grimoire, so to speak.
Okay.
Also, learn about other books, such as Book of Protection, and we've gotten to go into some of the other Solomonic grimoires, but mostly for me, it's really been heavy into the Bible. Let's see. Being in Doc's class, in Doc's presence, benefiting from his energy and his mantle. Working with the roots a lot more. Really making sure that I've learned a lot more about roots and herbs. I've done that a good bit. Done a lot more research. And I've put my system together. I had a decent system before I got to class, and my candle work has improved because I learned candles with Doc at 7 Rays, and I took that and ran with it.
Yes, you did.
So I took the candles and ran with it, and I took the burning of herbs and ran with it. I did some of that, but I didn't do it nearly as much. Now I run with it. So, and I noticed that my outlook is a lot different. I definitely claim the Christian mystic mantle a lot more strongly. And
here's a question for you. Because I got to ask this just on my last YouTube, which was, I think people get the misunderstanding, and it's an easy misunderstanding to have, that the Bible equals Christianity.
Yes.
Or vice versa. And that's just simply not true. Simply not true. The Bible was here before the Christians got here.
Yes.
Right? They had a book. They had a set of scriptures that they referred to.
Yes.
So, the idea of written scripture, whether it's biblical, Vedic, Quranic, the Torah, the Blocca de Vita, etc. It's just the power of written text.
Yes.
Okay? Wherever you go and whatever your written text is, if it is of a spiritual nature, of a spiritual origin, you can apply it in the same way with limited caveats. Okay? And this really goes down to the basic fundamental technology of writs.
Yes.
Of the written word. I want to address that and stress that you don't have to be a Christian to work with me. I've got people in my class who are quote unquote Hotep, some who are absolutely agnostic. So, I mean, you don't have to be a Christian. All right. However, if you're coming to this class about magic, then you should know that I do work from a spirit model. So, do bear that in mind. All right. I do believe in spirits that have an individual consciousness and an independent narrative. So just as a side note. Yeah. So what were some things that you encountered or that you experienced or that you did not expect? What happened that was unexpected in the class?
Well, the uptake in I knew I would learn a lot, but the things that I picked up, such as the prophet helps you see what's in your bag. A lot of people think, well, the seer, the prophet, whatever y'all want to call him, the healer, is going to open it for you and then use the stuff in your bag for you. No. Many times, the prophet's job is just to help you open your bag and help you use what's in it. And help you see down roads you may not be able to see down, and then guide you on the path, not so much doing it for you.
That's a good point.
I really, really got that out of it. With some caveats, there are sometimes you're just going to have to do it, but you should never do something for somebody and they don't do something like, I want a job. Okay, are you applying for jobs? You kind of have to give them a little bit of guidance like that to keep them honest. That kind of stuff. That's one big thing I got. In the class.
Okay.
That's one of my main takeaways.
All right, so for somebody absolutely new to any and all of this, what would you say? What should they expect now that you have been here almost 2 years, I guess? What should they expect?
They should expect to be, first, I would say, inundated with a good bit of knowledge and material. You're going to want to take notes. You're going to want to talk to your classmates. You're going to want to, ask questions on the messenger. But you're going to expect to be stretched beyond what you think you can endure, and then have to stretch some more. I made it through because I was in pretty good shape to start, but I experienced the same thing. We would sometimes stay up all night.
I was just telling them that. Y'all from the old school. Y'all got me at. We wasn't getting out till at least 12, 1, 2 in the morning.
Now, sometimes it was, I was great. I mean, there were nights I didn't go home till 4 or something.
Right, even after class.
Yeah.
They ain't gotta worry about that either. So they were never doing it. They had to do that. But it's a lot of information. I mean, you gotta realize
it's a lot of information, and it circles back around. So you'll get to hear the same thing 3 or 4 times, and eventually you're going to use part of it or all of it. Then you might hear something that you might use 2 years later or a year later or something. But you're going to get a lot of information. And more will, like he said, more will be caught than taught.
That's very true. That's very true.
Just being in class is beneficial.
Very true.
Just receiving the mantle, his energy.
Let me ask you a question. So, you've been here 2.5 years, or 2 years roughly.
Something like that.
You about to go into stage 3, shortly, which is your final level before graduation, really. So, what are you anticipating? Like, what's next for you after class? What can the people expect from you?
Doc, I tell you, Doc said something last week. Said you can tithe in a number of ways. I have a sense that part of my tithe will be doing work for people, and then that'll be part of the way I bless myself and other people. And then,
So you feel?
I know I'm. Oh, go ahead.
So you feel confident enough in what you know, what you learn, to work for other people.
Absolutely. And I think, and I know I'll be a good bit of mine will be focused on the people that are the outcasts that have, that really need assistance. I know some of my work will be focused on them. I'd like some of my work to be focused on breaking or working systems as far as when people are blocked, helping them get into that job or whatever they need.
And Justin, is it okay if we tell the people what makes you unique?
Tell them, go ahead.
So, this is what me and just joke about. So, I talk about proof of concept. That if you're gifted in something, you can make. Yes, just a refill. That's all.
Absolutely, I'll refill both.
If you are gifted in something, the proof of that is the ability to demonstrate on demand. And you can make your gift work in the craziest and most unlikely of situations. Now, what people online don't know about you, Justin, is what?
Oh, I'm sorry, my mouth. I apologize. Wait a minute. They don't know that I'm a person who has a visual disability or a person who's blind. You can say it either way.
Justin is blind. So, the running joke is, if Doc can teach a blind man, y'all ain't got no excuse to come get trained. And I'm talking about taught to a level of proficiency that you work for other people. We have a, thank you. We have a, what's what I'm looking for? An intention, I should say, to have Justin distinguished as one of the first, or one of the first renowned blind workers of the modern era. It was very common back in the day. You see, it was very common back in the day. But as of today, not so much.
Not so much. I can't.
You see, and so, and I told him when we first started talking, he's like, Doc, I checked around, I Googled, I asked people, we want to name the company, but right, asking and looking for, do you know any blind conjurers that can also train me? And he just kept getting no. And I prophesied to him, it's because the person you're looking for is in the mirror.
Yeah, he said that. He said, you might be the first.
In other words, that, you are the person that somebody else is going to be looking for down the road. So, I just want y'all to know that this is not a boast, or it's not about me. I just want you to see the efficacy of this training system. It works. People come in. So, with the three of y'all, you have varying levels of proficiency. Yeah, one person didn't know diddly no squat. They just found out magic worked a week before I met them. Okay, they thought magic was just something you saw on TV. You've got somebody who was a diehard hotep and a borderline atheist. He has somebody been doing different types of spiritual systems for some years now.
Yeah, that was me.
So these people came at varying different levels of proficiency and have been consistently upgraded through the training process. So
and Doc wants you to take what you have and make it better.
take what you got to make it better is not about me making cookie cutter shapes of me, but giving what I know, imparting what I know to make what you do better and to upgrade that. And as I've always said, I give publicly the secret to my sauce, which is impartation. Information is great, but impartation is better. And when people matriculate through, I was asked the other day, they asked me, they said, well, do I get a certificate once I finish? I said, hell no, you don't get no certificate.
Okay, well, you need a certificate for it.
What that gonna do for you? Another piece of paper to put on your wall is gonna collect dust. What's that gonna do for anybody? Nothing. People don't want to know if you got a certificate. They want to know, can you do it? I don't care if you're certified in it or not. Can you do it?
Can you do it?
If my son's on death row, can you get him off? That's the question. You see.
I mean, because
My grandma's laying on her deathbed. Can you help? That kind of thing. People come up with real issues, and they don't care about what paper you got on your wall about if you went through a class or a course or an ebook or whatever to learn content. They want to know, do you have in you the resident power to move the situation? Okay. And you can't get that from a book. You can't get that from a lecture. That's the truth of it. All right. What you can get from that, don't get me wrong, you can get from a book or from a video, whatever, how to use the power. But if you don't have it to begin with, you already at a loss. That's how you get people who we call armchair occultists. The people who will tell you, oh yeah, you need to bury that work in your front yard. Because they read that somewhere. Then you ask them, you say, well, I'm in a high-rise apartment. They're like, let me get back to you on that.
Let me get back to you.
Because that's not in the book, see. Won't tell you what to do about that. But I don't have a backyard. Well, see,
See, I don't have a lot of a backyard. I got a little bit of a side yard.
Right.
But after a while, you can run a place to bury it.
See, so that's because they don't have anybody that taught them in their oral tradition. So they don't have anybody to ask. You can't ask a book. You can't ask no book. The book ain't gonna change. You can't ask the book, what should I do if this is not there? The book don't know.
Sometimes you gotta ask the spirits you're working with.
Very true.
Hey man, you know what we do with this?
So just to bring that out there, that a lot of you are very talented and some of you even gifted. But I'm telling you, whomever you are, wherever you are, it doesn't have to be my system, but it is time to get trained. It is time to bring your gift and discipline it so that it can be practical and useful. A lot of people come into accidental miracles. And
one punch wonder.
Right. Problem with that is, it's accidental. It's haphazard. It's coincidental. You don't have a science behind it to duplicate it. People look at, for example, as you know, I put out the 21-day miracle ritual. Right?
Good prayer too.
One of the reasons is as a proof of my concept that things can be done and they can be duplicated. They're based on if you realize there's a science, as it were, a methodology to miracles. And And that's why when I put the prayer out there, people who do the prayer are getting consistent results. People who have been stuck, they have been blocked in, hedged in, dealing with issues for years on end, getting no kind of result. I put a post up, it was not to be shady at all, to be honest. That's that some of you have got more breakthrough and more miracles off of a free 21-day prayer than you ever got hiring a worker.
That's right.
It's to show you that there is a consistency, there's a methodology, there's a science, a strategy employed that can provoke the supernatural on your behalf. It can provoke certain powers to operate in your favor if you know how to tap into them. And the people who don't have any kind of training, any kind of background, they do the ritual, and they're getting all kinds. Man, you got to go and look at those threads. It is absolutely mind-boggling.
Some of them are incredible.
Absolutely, it just blows your mind. It blows your mind.
That's a free prayer.
And then what really blows their mind is how simple it is. People stumble over the simplicity of it, but that's how science is. My grandfather used to say this. He used to say it is simple, but it's not easy. In other words, there are certain consistent principles that you can affect that will leverage momentum and forces in your favor, and they're simple. Now, we can make them more advanced, we can make them more complex by how we manipulate them, how we apply them, how we combine them, but at the root, they're very, very simple. You see, so it's about getting a methodology, learning your gifts in a methodical way, not haphazardly, lighting a candle and a hope and a prayer and a whim. All right, but are there certain techniques, are there certain technologies, are there certain concepts, strategies, methods that I can employ to give me more consistent results? And that's one of the things that we specialize in. Specialize in. So,
And my base was energy work, so that kind of helped me a good bit. And then I layered what I learned on top of it. I think, and if somebody, like I say, somebody else's base didn't hardly know anything. So, and it still works. The system will still work. And then you have people with the 21-day prayers who, I read a few of those threads. Unreal.
I had a lady.
I mean, just unreal.
I heard a lady say that somebody posted. So what happened was, somebody was in a group. It wasn't even Hoodoo Bible, it was some other group. And they posted the prayer or testimony or whatever in another group, never even heard of. That's like getting influx of inbox and emails and whatever consultations. I'm like, how did you find me? A 21-day miracle prayer. 21-day miracle prayer. Just back to back to back to back to back. I don't know where they dropped my information at, but that's what caused that big spike in my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I got like 100 subscribers within like a week. It was like, what in the world's going on? Who let the dogs out? But going on 30 minutes on this is getting long, but if you guys have any questions you want to ask of myself or Justin, yeah, go for it.
I feel a lot better after a meal.
Man, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My talking even got better.
I was irritable, man. I was hungry and tired, man. I didn't want to be able to do it. Nobody, I cut everybody up. Good evening, Danny. This medley wasn't bad at all.
That's good.
At all.
Sometimes with vegetable plates, well, it's hard to mess them up. But it's also...
That's not true.
It's hard to get over the top, though.
It's not true because if you ain't got no seasoning on the vegetables,
That mess them up.
and you just steamed them and threw them at me, I'm throwing right back at you.
I'm assuming that you put seasoning on them. Never mind.
These are pretty good.
I didn't know people did that. They put seasoning
Oh yeah, man. Like it's some side, like a side order. You know what I'm talking about? Those side vegetables.
Yeah.
You get a little carrot, maybe a hint or two of broccoli, you know, and a wing and a prayer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really. Yeah. So, the question for you, I think she said, Justin, did you ever feel fear, especially how you spoke about the stretching, etc.?
You want some more Arnold Palmer?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
All right.
Did I feel fear of what? Just in general?
I think probably just in general.
Anxiety maybe as far as, hey, I got to find a way to step up and perform.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good bit of experience before I started studying with God, which really helped. Because we had to figure out, so I had a good bit of experience. So for me, it was more anxiety, like, man, I got to figure out how to make this, it has to work, but thank you. But I wouldn't say fear, I would say the anxiety.
I want to say this also, is that working with Justin has made me better as a teacher, as a conjurer, because it reminds you can't take anything for granted. You can't assume anything about your students. So, for example, if we're talking about divination, all right, and everybody in the class uses tarot, for example, that's a predominantly visual tool. Well, how do you apply that to someone who's visually impaired? You see, most teachers won't touch it. Most teachers won't touch it. They won't know how. They won't know how to adapt or adopt because they don't understand the science behind it. You see, all they have are a list or a list of check boxes, or as Dr. King likes to call it, hoodoo by the numbers, But like I said before, when you have somebody who doesn't fit the mold, a maverick, you've got to be able to adapt and adjust. Here's something else I learned too. My own personal experience as being taught myself, both, in conjure, just as being as a spiritual son of my godfather, is you want to make sure that when you sit under a mentor in any capacity, all right, any capacity, whether it's on the job, whatever, that the person training you is not intimidated by your gift. And there are a lot of people who take on roles as mentors, leaders, or whatever, and here's something interesting. Everybody can't train the gifted. Everybody can't train the gifted. Let's be honest, because I'm going to be the first to raise my hand, because I'm gifted, so I know my godfather, he had a hell raising me, okay? Is gifted people, we are self-righteous, we are know-it-alls, we are unsubmitted, we are borderline rebellious. Who do you think you are? What qualifies you to tell me anything? We think that because we are gifted, that we can do that, we therefore feel entitled. Maybe not Justin, okay, but let me speak for myself then, okay? I know the gifted person just look at me like, okay. So it takes a special kind of grace, a special kind of ability to train gifted people. All right? Not to be intimidated by their gift, not to be envious or jealous of their gift, not to be competitive with their gift. To understand that everybody has their own gifting. I'm not trying to cover. See, a lot of times people do is they call it a spiritual covering, but it ends up being a spiritual cover up. I'm about to go somewhere. Let me leave that alone. Let me leave that alone.
I remember this.
It ends up being a cover up. They want to cover you up, put you in obscurity, hide you from the world, put you in some corner, and want to manipulate you, abuse you, and use you. They want to siphon your gift off so it makes them look better. They don't want to give you time. They don't want to give you platform. They don't want to put honor on your name. They say put respect on my name. They want to do none of that. They want you to be a lackey forever. You know, a trainee forever. There is no process. In other words, there's no built-in process for you to graduate. You know, does that make sense? In other words, so people don't realize that's a form of manipulation when they're always your crutch. See, the idea is to build you, to upgrade you to the extent that you can take care of yourself. You know, when it comes to this, and that's what I tell people who are going to begin to teach other people whatever, that you go through it's like if you're a parent, if you're a mentor, if you're a leader, whatever, you go through 3 stages with your mentees. The first stage is the caregiver stage. You are the primary caregiver. You carry them on your back. If you're a parent, normally it's from birth to about the age of 7. You feed them, clothe them, bathe them, whatever. Pick them up, whatever the case may be. Then from about 7 to 14, now you're in the coach stage. My job is to motivate you in your own gifts, your dreams, your desires. You're coming to your own. You're building your own identity, what you like, what you don't like, your own opinions. And my job is to coach you in that. All right? And then the third stage, from 14 on, I'm not your caregiver. I'm not your coach. At this point, I'm the consultant. I should have instilled into you certain ideas, certain ethics, certain morals, certain strategies, so you can do life yourself. And I just look back as a reference point. Pull me off the shelf to look up a word, for example. Let me be the encyclopedia, but I'm not your coach. All right. So when I deal with these 3 levels of apprenticeship, it is the caregiver stage, it is the coaching stage, it's the consultant stage. They may say, okay, every now and then, hey doc, I got a question. I'm working on a case myself with my own client. What do you think about this? Or can I get a second opinion on that? You see. I don't know how I got on that rant. That anointing hit me on that thing hard, man. That thing hit me upside my head like taking a breath. Right, okay. I feel a lot better now. Let me go back to these comments here. Somebody to push me away because I'm visually impaired, and finally someone can step up to the plate. And I'm just like, yeah, because see, it's not. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that those are bad people, whatever. It's got to be in someone. They just might not have that level of grace or gifting or ability or capacity. When Justin came on the scene, I already knew he was called to me from jump. So I knew that whatever Justin had need of, that there was a capacity in me to produce, whether I knew it or not. It was a stretching for me. It was a twin challenge for him and for myself.
And it was good that he allowed me to use my skill sets that I had, and then build in some of the other ones. You know, because I've trained in some spiritual systems which fit me, so it really helped. And so that kind of smoothed it over some. And I think once we found the right set of cards, you know, I've got 3 different ways to divine, stuff like that.
So, somebody asked here, okay, do you feel that a tool is necessary for divining? Great question. So
Okay, you can answer that. You want me to answer it? So, okay.
we'll both answer it, but I'll say this. Divination and prophecy are different art forms. All right. One of the monikers of divination is the use of tools, because divination is the observation of patterns. So you need to be able to produce a pattern. We do that through tools, whether that's dice, whether that's shells, whether that's cards, whether that's pendulum, whatever. You need to produce a pattern and then know how to interpret that pattern. That's why you can divide off anything. You can do, augury, which is watching how the birds fly. That's a form of divination. You see, what they call mancia, right? Like necromancy, or all of, hydromancia, pyromancia, geomancia, so on and so forth. So, now when it comes to the prophetic, no, you don't need tools the word tool is such a misnomer because you're always using something. Even if you're using meditation, it's something. If you're using quiet, it's something. If you're using stillness of mind, that's something. You see. We can take the check now.
Sure, I'm
Oh, yeah, this is very, very good. I was quite impressed, and it was a wonderful recommendation.
My boyfriend actually made it.
I can taste the love. No wonder why it was so good. She was back there encouraging him.
Come on, man.
Great question for you, Justin. She says, because I think she's also visually impaired as well, so this would be great. She says, does Justin memorize about his Bible verses or have it on Audible? I cannot read the Bible because I cannot see the verses, so I was just curious as how he was led.
I look them up I read the Bible first, either on my iPhone or on the internet. And then what I do is I look up what I want in the Bible. If I'm doing, well, I got to give you this because you blind like me. I wouldn't have said this out, but since you if I want to do a reverse or something, I look up those words that have to do with reverse in the Bible, like payback, recompense, those things that relate to it. And I've got them in a document. So I read my Bible, and then I look things up. And when I want those prayers, I go and I use them. I also have a Braille book of Psalms. Now I haven't quite wanted to get a whole Braille. Haven't wanted to get a whole Braille Bible yet because
I think it'd be humongous.
But the Psalms are good because they have a lot of. Once you use your verses, sometimes you want to be able to read a psalm like the next day. I might use the verses one day, then you read the psalm the next day or something like that. But you can read some of the psalms to go along with what you're doing. And it's a quick reference book for a miniature grimoire. Whereas it would be tough to have an entire Braille Bible. You would have to have an entire side of your room dedicated to it.
So for you, I guess maybe the more concise question is, I think this is so fascinating that you have built systems to accommodate.
Yes.
And we just integrated what I knew, what I did, thank you, into those, your existing systems.
Yes. Yeah, we integrated what I didn't know. We integrated what you did into my systems because I built them so they worked. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's kind of how we did that. And so for you, that's what you're going to want to do it. My conjure system or magical system will look a little bit different.
That's a beautiful thing.
That's okay.
That's what I want to also say. I'm gonna be very frank with this. Obviously, I'm an African in America, okay, and The only people that make my culture look like a monolith are people who don't look like me. I put it like that. My point in saying that is, hoodoo is not a monolith. It's not a only one way, one size fit all. Never has been, nor can it ever be, and still be a living tradition. No living tradition is like that. No, you cannot name one living tradition as a monolith. It stays the same. That's why it's called an organism. It has to change, move, adapt, and adopt. So that being said, you know, how you conjure, how Justin conjures, whatever, is going to be different based upon, you know, how your life is set up. For example, you know, I mean, it's just so very obvious. You look at the mail order, quote unquote, you know, the hoodoo mail orders, all right? That happened as an adaptation of black people migrating north and not able to get the herbs and the plants and the roots and the bones that they were getting easily down here out the fields, you see. It was an adaptation, meaning that the way that people conjure up north is going to be different than how we do it down south. Now, the principles are the same, all right? How can I say like this? The principles are the same, but the application is different.
A little bit different.
In other words, the technology is the same, but the devices we use are different. For example, you know, you've got iPhone, you've got the diphone, God help you. But anyway, we're gonna cast the devil out of you in a minute. And I got Android, thank God. It is still mobile technology, but two different devices, two different techniques or usage of that technology. You see, yours fits your life, what you have need of it for. Mine fits my life, what I have need of it for. And the same way with this spiritual technology. All right? And so if you're going to, that's why these, you know, books in these, well, let me go and pay this lady. I don't know about time for us to get up out of here. We done got our second win now.
Where's my check?
She put it right here.
How much is mine?
1975.
Not that.
It's on there.
That's it.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a little clipboard. So, you know, that was my little rant on that. You know, if you are in a program, that's why you want something that's organic, and by that I mean it has a person-person interaction. You know, I'm not saying you can't learn hoodoo from a newsletter or a blog or I don't know, whatever the case may be. But if it's in some way in person, you're gonna miss certain things.
Those things help. I mean, I read. Doc will tell you, I'm a reader. I read everything.
Yeah, he really did.
And still do read a lot. But now it's a little different just for reference. I read all kinds of stuff for a base because I had to. So I read so much that I almost fooled you into thinking I had a living tradition, but I didn't.
So we got 2% on this phone. So let me get this question right quick. We may die. Question is, Justin, how did your family react to your journey in the spiritual path?
They don't know.
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, like, 1 or 2 cousins know.
Ain't none of their business.
Stuff, but I really don't talk to, you know.
Ain't none of their business. All right, well, better get out of here because my phone about to die. And, well, there it is. It's dead.
If they want to ask some more later, I'm down with that.
I'm going home.